Shalom. Giving all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Bashem, Rakaka Dash. Peace to the hopefully elect of Israel. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, and brethren, the great millstone, for teaching this truth all around the earth, and all like-minded brothers who are doing the same. And to the few sisters who believe in the gospel of Yahweh Shai. Okay, it's your brother Atazawan Bayat bringing another quick lesson, Salakia. And I'm not sure what I'm going to call this lesson right now, but I saw this article last night. It's from ABC News, um, and it says family of Tuskegee syphilis study participate. Slovakia. Family of Tuskegee syphilis study participant says they'll take what? The Crown Royal vaccination. Okay. So I'm going to read this article and then we'll go into a few scriptures. And this is just another case, man, well, let's read the story. I'm not going to say anything right now. We'll get into it. So let's look at this, right? This is some of the descendants from some of the men who were in that so-called study, okay, for the CDC back then in the 40s and all the way up through the 70s, right, with the Tuskegee syphilis study. So let's read a little bit of this. Lily Tyson Head and her daughter, Carmen Head Thornton, have reason to be skeptical about the Crown Royal vaccine. After all, it was Head's father, Fred Lee Tyson, who was unknowingly recruited into the now infamous syphilis study at Tuskegee. And I guess that's her right there, okay, holding up pictures of her parents, all right? And it goes on to say, a sharecropper in Alabama in 1932, Tyson was one of 623 black men recruited for the U.S. public health study at the Tuskegee Institute. The study was meant to record the natural progression of syphilis infection in black men. Now, why black men only? Nobody ever raised that question. But the researchers didn't tell those who signed on. Tyson, who had congenital syphilis, was only told he'd receive free health care. Quote, they did not tell them they had syphilis. And the only thing they told them was they had bad blood and they were treating the bad blood, end quote, had told Nightline co-anchor Byron Pitts. Quote, but they were not. They were lying to the people about that. They were deceiving them, end quote. So now you have to look at, why did they just choose Jake, right? And then keep in mind also, when you think about it, they knew that these men, they were infecting them with syphilis. And they knew that these men, at least some of them, were married or they had girlfriends or whatever the case may be, knowing that they would go back and have sex with their women. And so, that was a plot right there of trying to get rid of Jake, no matter what they say. So let's look at the last sentence. She says that they were deceiving them, right? So let's try to get a quick scripture right here. This is Ephesians 4. We start at verse 11. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and some teachers, and teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach, till we all come in the unity of faith and of the knowledge of the Son of the Most High, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Now, of course, Paul is talking to the believers and some of the new believers about what you know, really, and you have to keep in mind too that the scriptures are manifold. Okay, they apply in different ways in your life at a particular time. Okay, but the point being that men will lie. Okay, and as it says in verse 14, and cunning craftiness, and they'll have cunning craftiness, not just your, you know, brothers or what have you in the nation, the same nation, but these people outside of the nation, man, you know, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. You see? So that's all these people do, Salakia. My finger got in the way there. Is try to find a way to deceive Jake. Okay, and this is what Paul is warning them about. Okay, so let's get back to the article. I don't want this to be that long. Um, let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, and it says here that experiment lasted 40 years. During that time, the American government made efforts to ensure the participants in the study never knew the true intentions of the researchers. So they kept it hid. See? And it's the same thing that they're doing now with this Crown 19 vaccination. No long-term study has been done. No short-term study has been done. Okay? And these people are going to take this mess. They're going to take it. And as we go further, we'll read what these women had to say. All right? Even when they discovered penicillin was a reliable treatment for the infection, the participants were actively kept from receiving it. So they knew that they could cure the syphilis, but they didn't cure these men. Okay? This just goes into when she remembered her grandfather found out. Okay? Let's pick it up right here. It says, although Tyson died in 88, which was the old man, Head and Thornton have been carrying on his legacy in hopes that something like the experiment never happens again. In memory of the men who unknowingly contributed their bodies to the study, they started the Voices of Our Father's Legacy Foundation. And see, that's the end dub for you, man. Always following behind what Esau does with a foundation of some type. Okay? Which aims to change the narrative surrounding the experiment and its participants and connect their descendants across the generations. Quote, there is a desire and need for us through our foundation and through our professional work to want to move this story of the syphilis study to one that speaks toward being a victim to being a victor, for moving from trauma to triumph, said Thornton, who works as the director of the research grants, workforce and development in the National Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. See, and that's that black Christian church nonsense, you know, trying to start some kind of movement that's basically going to be fruitless because you're going up against your enemy, okay, but trying to sound like, you know, you're going to be able to fix the problem. And here it says, let's go down a little bit. It says, both women say they understand why there is skepticism among black Americans to take the Crown Royal 19 vaccination. Although 27% of the public say they probably or definitely would not get vaccinated, 35% of black adults say the same, despite being disproportionately affected by the virus, according to the survey by the Kaiser Family Foundation, which I never heard of, and why would you trust any numbers that they give you? Okay, going on, it says history has not been kind to African Americans, Thornton said. It has not been kind, and because of misperceptions that are connected to what happened in the study, I think it helps to grow mistrust, and that's one of the things that we deal with. No kidding. See, stick it Jake right there. Either they taking his blood or they shooting the syphilis in him. Who knows, right? All right, it goes on to say, among the misconceptions surrounding the syphilis experiment, Head said many people believe the participants in the study were injected with the virus. They were not, she said, but rather given blood tests frequently. Well, I don't know how she knows that. She wasn't there. Thornton said that to rebuild this trust, there needs to be more people of color in the medical field. Her mother said that while there are more people of color in these positions now, and that things have changed, things have gotten better, they could still improve more. Well, you got plenty of, you could hire a million more black nurses and doctors. It's not going to change what they plan to do. Salakia for my hand shaking. Okay. But let's finish the article out. It says, quote, I am committed to spending my life in public health and in working in a way that I do because we need the representation, Thornton said. That's the reason why the syphilis study happened to begin with, because there wasn't that representation. There wasn't those voices around the table. And so we really do need to have the representation engaged in science, engaged in research, and engaged in respectful health care. When asked if they take the Crown Royal vaccination themselves, they both said what? Yes. Without hesitation, Head said, as soon as the vaccination is available for me, I'm taking it. Listen to that. Now, you already know if you're supposed to be an expert in understanding what happened to your grandfather and what happened to your father, so on and so forth, and you still want to trust these people who tell you that they can protect you, they can keep you alive. And if this thing was really what they said it was, then the super elite, the super rich would never let you poor people get your hands on it if it's going to preserve your life. Common sense should tell you, that you can't trust them. But that's Jake for you, and you'll be taken in the snares and you'll be taken in the traps, you'll be taken in the gins, that they set up for you. Okay? Get a couple of scriptures here. This is 2 Corinthians 2 and 5. But if any have caused grief, he hath not grieved me, but in part, that I may not overcharge you all. Sufficient to such a man is the punishment which was inflicted of many. So that contrariwise ye ought rather to forgive him and confront him, lest perhaps such a one should be swallowed up with overmuch sorrow. Salakia. Let me read that again. So that contrariwise you ought rather to forgive him and confront him, lest perhaps such a one should be swallowed up with overmuch sorrow. Wherefore I beseech you that ye would confirm your love toward him. For to this end also did I write, that I might know the proof of you, whether ye be obedient in all things. Verse 10, to whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Hamashiach. Verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And of course, it's talking about Paul is saying that, we should always remember, our brethren, if we offend somebody or if we do something to somebody, don't be tricked by Satan to hold a grudge, to be angry. Okay, he's talking to the believers here in Corinth, right? But we know that the scriptures are manifold. So we know that Satan has many, many devices and uses many things to keep us apart, right? So that's the point that I wanted to get to in verse 11, that Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, and we can apply that here, man. The counterpart, the physical counterpart of Satan on this planet, man, we're not ignorant to their devices. This is Matthew 24, and I'm going to read from verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, in which we hear that now, and have been for a long time. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. And we're seeing that now, right? More and more. Each day As each day go by, we see more of this. All these are what? The beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Okay? And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And the point is in verse 11, and many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. Now you have that also, with all these guys from all these other different camps who preaching contrary to the true doctrine of the scriptures, okay? But also, you got these people of the world who are trying to what? Make themselves, well, one particular group, okay, Esau, Edom, who wants to be what? Above the Most High, is a false prophet in many sense, that their people come out and speak lies, okay? And these lies about how this vaccination is going to protect you and keep you alive and keep you safe, right? Let's quickly look. Like I said, the scriptures are manyfold, man. They're applicable to certain situations, even if it may be referring to one particular nation or another. You see, this is Isaiah. I'm starting Isaiah 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Okay, Esau, Edom. For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend to heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. And who are they? Right? The Israelites. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. See, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be above the Lord. Okay? They're trying to decide who lives, who dies, who's going to be in our society, who's going to be this cyborg that we're going to make you. Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Okay? But the point being is, they're speaking as false prophets. Okay? They're trying to be like the Most High. Okay? Lastly, we'll get this. This would be Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. And they're trying to pass this thing off, man, like everything is all good, like they figured everything out, right? And those who are supposed to get caught up in this gonna get caught up in it, okay? The elect are not gonna get caught up in this. I just saw this here once I turned the computer on, and it says what? Pence received COVID vaccine in televised appearance, hails medical miracle. Putting out a false prophecy, man. That's not no medical miracle. And look at the backdrop. Safe and effective, right? To convince you. See, because the sheeple, when they see that, that's a subliminal message, man. It goes into the subconscious. When you see this image, and you see those words behind his head, it goes into the subconscious. And it's like, oh yeah, it must be safe. He's taking it. Well, you don't know what he's getting, if he's getting anything at all. Now, I didn't read this article, and I'm not gonna go into it. Well, let's look at it. We got a couple minutes. I'll do maybe a little bit of it. I didn't plan on it, but we here, so let's look at it. Washington Vice President Mike Pence received the Crown Royal vaccination in a televised appearance Friday morning in an effort to promote its safety and boost public confidence in its effectiveness. See, it's all witchcraft. It's all a trick. It's all false prophecy. for them, from them, coming from them. The Pfizer vaccination or vaccine was also given to his wife Karen Pence and Surgeon General Jerome Adams in the Eisenhower Executive Office building near the White House by a medical team from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. I didn't feel a thing. Well done, Pence said in remarks after receiving the shot in his left arm. Man, these mugs are something else. Pence called it a medical miracle, saying that the average vaccine usually takes between 8 to 12 years to develop. Yeah, and that should bring into question, just like I said earlier, what are the short-term effects? What are the long-term effects? Right? And they're pushing this thing on the market and people are taking it now. Okay? Manufacture and distribute. But we're on track here in the United States to administer millions of doses to the American people in less than 1 year. It's a miracle indeed, he said. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to read no more of it. Yeah. So if you want to read that, you can read that on your own time, but I just saw this morning from NBC News. So keep that in mind. You see all this stuff popping off, just like we read in Matthew 24. We getting closer and closer to the end, brothers and sisters. We getting out of here. But keeping with verse 10 of Ecclesiastes 12, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. It never changes, it never goes away. All right? With that, I'm going to end the lesson right there. Lord willing, it was edifying, provoked some thought, okay? And I'll just close out right there, giving all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Rakak Wadash. Peace to the hopefully elect, and I'll see you on the next lesson. Shalom.